Welcome back, Rare Talks. You already know what it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't, make sure you head over to the Spotify and check out the exclusive episodes that we only have on the Spotify. And today we're back with another Rare Reactions. Yes, another Rare Reactions. Another Rare Reactions. So today we're going to be talking about a video that I was sent. It's called How Ukrainian Refugees Are Handling Cultural Integration in Ethnically Diverse Areas of the UK. Now, before we even start this video, I just like to put a disclaimer out there. All the views expressed in there are by me and probably millions of others, different people like me. But yeah, I'm just going to just break down where I go with this video. You know what I'm saying? I have been hearing, if I'm being 100% honest, that Ukrainians are very racist. It's well known what they done to black people when they were trying to leave the country when the war started with Russia. It's well documented. But I need to see it for myself. Because you know me, I don't like when people tell me stuff. I like to find it out myself. It's called research. A lot of you people don't do nothing like that. You just listen to everything you hear. So I need myself to see this. So let's watch this and see if I'm correct or wrong that Ukrainians are very racist towards black people. Let's see. Let's check now.
We've always hosted lots and lots of people. Never quite so long as 6 months.
It's a long time.
So it is a long time. And I think we hadn't necessarily taken into consideration the cultural differences.
But those cultural differences weren't often talked about when Andrea signed up to the Homes for Ukraine scheme. She lives in a diverse part of Birmingham. After a week of staying there, her guest told her there were too many Muslims in the area.
We were quite shocked at how difficult she found different cultures.
She felt there were just too many Muslims.
Too many Muslims, too many people with different skin colours.
Her guest's son was enrolled into the local school, where the majority of children happened to be black and Asian.
And then to just have her complain about the demographic of the school and going, well, he can't be safe there. There's not enough white kids, essentially. The majority of mine.
So let's just start off. So not only are they racist, they're also bigots that don't like Muslims. Okay. So this shows us a lot where the Ukrainians are going. So you see when people are talking about Ukraine, you know, free Ukraine, let's help Ukraine out. If you don't actually understand this is a political ploy by the government to get into Russia because they hate Russia because Russia holds on to all the natural gases of the world, then I think that a lot of you lot have been very, very deceived. The reason why we're in a condition that we're in right now with rising food prices and inflation is because of the war with Russia. Since they sanctioned Russia, it's damaged us. And they don't want to tell us this because they like to hide stuff from us. But this woman doesn't like Muslims. And she also doesn't like Asians or black people. She thinks that her child wasn't safe, as a lack of better words, which is actually a lie. Because you know what? You rarely find a black kid looking at a white kid saying, what, you're white, should beat you up. It's never really like that. You never really see Asian kids. As a matter of fact, you could probably come to my country, Jamaica, and fit in perfectly, even though there's more black people than white. But you just come and people will just accept you because we're not them type of people. We accept people for who they are. It's not about race. It's about who you are as a person. So, yeah, this one is already started on a little bit of weirdness, but we'll keep going.
The majority of my neighbours are Muslims. A lot of them are Kashmiris or Pakistanis, Indians, and they're wonderful people. And you just felt if you just would sort of give them the time, perhaps we'd come to the same conclusion.
They both agreed to end the placement. Britain is, of course, far more ethnically and religiously diverse than Ukraine. Could more be done to help the refugees who have settled here to integrate? It's a question that's been debated with each new wave of immigration over the decades.
For people who aren't from the UK, they don't realise there's lots of people that look like me here. And that can be quite like, wow, you know, I thought England was full of English people. And it is, because I'm English, but I just look very different.
Defining diversity. When this refugee
let's just get this right. This black woman said she's English. No, let's get it right. You're British. You have a cultural background of where your family actually genuinely come from. You are not English. And let's be as truthful as possible when we're making these things. I am not English, and I don't claim England. I'm Jamaican. That's where my roots come from. Am I British? As I was raised here, I was raised in British culture. So I know British culture better than I know Jamaican culture. But my ethnicity of where my actually general roots come from is Jamaica. Clarendon, to be precise. So we have to be honest when we're speaking, because I see a lot of these people, they're disingenuous to try and please a crowd. So they're disingenuous to try and please a crowd. So a black woman in front of a lot of white people, like, I'm English. No, you're British. And the reason why you're British is because your background extends further than this country. And even the people that claim that their background's from it actually extends further than this country. So when we're talking, we have to be very specific and be very clear, because I don't like to listen to people when I feel like they don't want to. From that moment that someone says something like that around me, I would automatically not respect you on the basis that I know you don't know what you're talking about. And once you don't know what you're talking about, I can't literally take you in ever again. But anyway.
When this refugee support group recognised the problem, they organised this workshop for Ukrainians who have settled here.
Do you find that there are assumptions made about yourself when you walk into a room like this?
Yeah, you know, I'm a 6 foot tall black woman. So yeah, I'm sure when they came in, I could see people really clutching their handbags. But by the time we'd kind of got into it, you know, people had warmed up. There was lots more smiles. They were talking to each other. So I feel like we got it just about right.
The government told us they provide councils with £10,500 per refugee to help Ukrainians fully integrate. That funding has been halved for new arrivals. This workshop is a voluntary scheme, one of the very few in the country, and there's no specific funding for it.
And that kind of keeps happening. If you look back at, you know, previous waves of immigration, exactly the same things were said. People like, actually, it would have been really helpful to have had a bit of guidance, to understand the city, and we just don't seem to be able to fix.
You know what I find funny is whenever they have someone like diversity trainer, diversity leader, it's always a black person or like a Muslim person. Like, why can't it be a white person? Now, I'm just being like on the opposite side of the fence. Why is it always a black person? We're not the only people that know about diversity. There's Asian people, there's Arab people, there's lots of people. Why do they always pick a black person? It's a question that I want everyone to think about. That could be seen as not diversity, that all your diversity people are not black or Asian. Are you going to call me a sellout now for saying that? I'm a sellout for saying that. You sure where I'm going? Where do we end with this?
Olga arrived here in October with her son.
For us, it's rather like amazing to see so much religion, so much ethnicities. And
Because I guess you're just not used to it.
yes, of course.
What did you feel about the workshop today and what you learned?
British people, it's not only white English people, it's all people here is British. So for us, it was very important to understand it from their history.
The debate around integration often focuses on helping refugees into employment and housing. Tackling cultural integration can be trickier.
From the best area of Kyiv, where I became to the worst area of the Birmingham, unfortunately.
Oksana moved here from Kyiv last summer. She admits that at first, living side by side with so many different cultures made her feel afraid.
I was very afraid because it was not usually for me, and and some people just told me about so many dangerous stories.
Those stories, Oksana says, included cases about Islamic terrorism.
Lots of people here would feel very offended that you feel just because it's a mixed area, it's not safe.
I saw statistics on the police website, police, and so I saw statistics of criminals instead of it. And also
She said, I saw statistics on the police website. Let me just pull it out there to you. You see when people are Islamophobes or they hate Islam, they just make up stuff inside of their head. It's not even actually true, if I'm being honest. Living next to a Muslim person is probably one of the safest things you can actually have. And the reason why I say that is because Muslims, true Muslims that believe in Islam, They don't even believe in harming people. And actually, it's actually a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that not only you don't harm people, but that you're good to your neighbor. And being bad to your neighbor is a major sin in the religion. Having bad relationships with neighbors is actually a big thing in Islam. So if you're a neighbor with a Muslim, you're generally going to get treated well, because Muslims generally, for the sake of their Lord, have to be good to their neighbors. So it's like, when I hear people say stuff, like, I generally know that once you get to know Muslims, you'll start to see that they're ordinary people, just like we all are. They love all the same things that we do. And the only thing is that they believe in Islam. Yeah, but they're generally nice people in general. Like, and I'm not saying that off the back of I'm a Muslim and I'm being biased. There's always going to be a bias there. But I'm saying in general, if you just meet Muslim people, they're unproblematic people. In their houses, they might have problems going on. In their like lives, they might have something going on. But to the wider community, you're not really going to get mugged by a Muslim guy and a phobe. You're not going to get mugged by a hijabi or beaten up by a hijabi. They're going to have some sort of hayat or some sort of thing. Not to say it doesn't happen, but it's very rare. Like, I don't remember ever getting touched or beaten up by a Muslim back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you're just going off an Asian person and you're saying all Asian people are Muslims, then that's called ignorance. And that's on you to cure, not for me. Because the person could have been a Sikh, the person could have been a Hindu, the person could have been a Muslim. Doesn't mean that they're just one ethnicity when it comes to certain places. Does that make sense? You see a black person, you say, oh, he's a Muslim as well. No, he could be a Rasta, could be a Christian, he could be an atheist, he could be, I don't know, agnostic. There's so many things. Does that make sense? So just to have that ignorant mindset is crazy to me.
In the internet in English, when I began, this is the area from terrorism.
Oksana has now moved to a new area.
Not everybody knows each other.
The Homes for Ukraine scheme was initially set up for 6 months, but as the war continues, so too questions of relocation and resettlement, integration and adjustment.
So the video stops there. Can I just put this out there? Yeah, she said Oksana moved to another area, and Oksana probably moved to an area where she feels like it's more white people. What people from Europe don't understand is British people, like the proper English people, don't even like Europeans. They think that you lot are criminals that steal all the jobs. They don't even like you. Imagine that. So you're in this country, you don't like black people, you don't like Asian people. They're more likely to accept you than actual white people. They'll be thinking in their heads, nah, man, I don't like them flipping Ukrainians. That's why we done Brexit. We didn't want to be part of Europe. And you people are so crazy. If I come to another country as a refugee, yeah, and leaving because of war, yeah, I should be happy wherever I am because it's safer than wherever I am. Why am I going to come here and start having like stereotypes in my head? Because I came from a place where it was death, and I'm coming to a place where, let's just say for argument's sake, there's safety. Like, you're talking about, oh, I don't feel safe, yeah, because I heard the criminals are this color and I saw in the police website. Bro, you come from a country where your people are fighting and beefing and dying. Like, why are you worried about the small things? Well, you should be worried about the big things. And this lets me know that some people inside of themselves intrinsically are racist. Yeah. Well, I feel like you're taught racism, but I feel like with Ukrainians, because they saw so much oppression to other ethnicities in their country, they turned a blind eye to it. So like black people, there's probably black people in Ukraine, small numbers, and they probably treat them really bad. So that's why she's looking at it as like, it's not a bad thing. But my whole thing is that like this, like, I don't understand why we have to adapt to their culture to be a part of them. Like, does it make sense? Like, I feel like they need to come over here and understand that this is the UK. It's a whole different place, and people here have integrated into society, and we're moving forward. We're in like a first world country, not a third world country, where people live in harmony with each other, even if they're from different ethnicities or different religions or different backgrounds. We've all learned how to come together, to work together, to bring peace and not war. So big up to the people that actually come over with an open mind and work out for them. And to them racist Ukrainians that come over here, yeah, man, go back to Ukraine, innit? The same thing that Tommy Robinson would say to you lot, innit? Go back to your country, innit? If you don't like it here. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you definitely, once the war starts, you're going back to your country. You know what I'm saying? Would you lot like if I said that? Anyway, another episode, Rare Talks. Check us out. Bow. Make sure you subscribe.